This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
All right, we're joined by Suzanne Keating. Excited to have her here as an astrologist and, of course, owner of Pathways of the Soul. How are you doing today, darling?
I'm doing real good, Joe. I hope that you had a great vacation and your life is nice and relaxed after vacation.
It really is. Now I'm thinking about some summer island vacations. I might be heading up towards Block Island, close to you. I know you're on Nantucket Island. Yeah. So I'm looking for something for next weekend. But great to have you back here and really ecstatic that you're here to talk to us. If you missed any of our last podcast, we'll kind of sum it up for you quickly. She's an astrologer, tarot reader, past life regression therapist, and does so much with astrology. And we learned so much, So let's get a little recap of what's happening in the skies to start.
Sure. Right now we've got the sun is in Leo still, just until the 22nd. The sun is a vitality, life force, and when it moves, changes signs, then it shifts. And so in Leo, it's all about fun and playfulness and creativity and self-expression. It's going to move into Virgo on the 22nd, and Virgo is the sign of, it's an earth sign, and it's all about organization and details and being discerning. Do I need this? No. Okay. It's about setting good boundaries around us. And it takes up the end of August and the beginning of September. A lot of people are going back to school, college students and all other students, and families are going, oh my gosh, now I got to organize the house differently, get the lunches ready for the kids. Virgo has a lot to do with digestion too. So what we eat, we start to look at our dietary needs. So that's coming up on the 22nd. Before that, Mercury is going direct on the 11th, and everybody's going to be really happy about that. Mercury has, I've noticed Mercury retrograde throwing the kibosh into some things that I thought were set, and they weren't. So if you had something planned and it didn't go quite the way you wanted, things, you had a chance to review things. And hopefully going forward after the 11th, you'll be able to make arrangements that you're not going to have to change again. So that's two of the things right now. The other thing is we're having a full moon on Saturday in Aquarius.
Ooh.
Yeah, the full moon always highlights the opposite sign. Usually it's the opposite sign. We had the new moon in Leo, and it brought up all kinds of things that I already spoke about to Leo. But the full moon in Aquarius highlights how we're doing with our groups, with our friends, with our associations. And it also has a lot to do with technology, science, astrology, air travel, metaphysics. And those things you're going to see highlighted a lot more in around the time of the full moon in the news, especially. And then we have another change coming up on. Actually, we did last night. Mars, the planet of energy and action, and sometimes aggression, moved into Libra last night. Mars is going to be in Libra for a few weeks, and we're going to have to step lightly in relationships. If we need to assert ourselves, that's one thing. Assertion is okay, but try not to push too much. Mars gives attention where it's needed, so perhaps we need to put more focus in our relationships, use our energy. I'm trying to see here on my ephemeris when Mars moves out of Virgo in September. It will be, it's going to be towards the end of September, the 23rd. So Mars is a whole month in Libra, drawing attention to relationships. Yeah.
Amazing.
Primary relationships, especially. And then the other thing that's going on is that I already mentioned the sun. At the end of the month, the same day, it's the 23rd, that we have Mars going into It's not going to go into Virgo. I hope I said it's going to get out of Libra and move into Scorpio. The sun that day moves into Virgo. So there's a lot going on. So, just there's always these shifts of the sun and the inner planets, Venus, Mars, Mercury. But sometimes we have bigger things happening, like planets leaving a sign or going retrograde or whatever. So those are the highlights for right now.
Got it. Wow. And then didn't you want to talk a little bit about Pluto as well?
I did want to talk about Pluto. Um, Not that Pluto's like making any big changes right now, but Pluto is the furthest out planet in our solar system. And I call Pluto, mighty Pluto, because it's a very small planet, and has an elliptical orbit around the solar system, and it takes but roughly 240 years to make a complete transit around the sun. Well, that number should, click a few bells in people's heads,
Yeah.
because that's about how long ago the United States was established. We became a country around 240 years ago. So Pluto changing signs, and being back where it was when we became a country, is a big deal. And Pluto stays in a sign anywhere from 13 to 24 years. It because it has this odd orbit, being elliptical orbit around. Sometimes Pluto's even closer to the Earth than Neptune is. But here's the thing: the scientists and astronomers downgraded Pluto several years back, took away its planetary status and said, you know what? It's not completely round. It's elliptical. It's not really a planet.
Yeah.
And so then they upgraded it a few years back with Ceres, and called both Ceres and Pluto dwarf planets now. I don't ignore anything to do with Pluto, because Pluto is very much, it's very strong. It represents power, control, death, rebirth, decay. And we probably should go in that order: decay, death, and then rebirth. And it's one of the co-rulers of the sign of Scorpio. And the thing about Pluto is that it's um, subtle energies at first, and it takes a long time. And the reason it makes such a difference and it's so powerful is because it remains in a sign for so long. It does move slowly, maybe only 2 degrees a month, a year, 2 degrees a year. And so it hangs out in an area of your chart, or the United States chart, or whatever country you're looking at there, the date they were incorporated. That's mundane astrology. And
okay.
It's, it affects everybody for a very long period of time. And basically the key word for Pluto is transformation.
Yeah. Well, now, we got it's, summer's here. You mentioned, these skies really say so much, and people might not understand the relevance of this in astrology when it comes to us talking about Pluto, what's happening. How does this work with our bodies, with our being, with our astrological chart? Like, how does this all come to play? Would you mind just giving us a little overview about what astrology is telling us and what it means for so many people?
Okay, so astrology really kind of interprets how the cosmos is affecting us on Earth, and everything is vibrational energy, everything. So the planets are archetypes, energetic archetypes, and they have to do with different facets of life on the planet. When the planets are moving in and out of signs, that changes how that energy is affecting us. And even though everything is really far away from the Earth, we're in the same solar system as all the other planets. So let's say the easiest one to understand is the moon, right? The moon is our satellite. What does it affect? The tides. The tides come in and go out every day, twice a day. The moon moves around the Earth every 28 and a half days, roughly. It it makes a complete circle through all the signs. So every 2.5 days, the moon is changing signs. Right now, here's how it's affecting us, and maybe you can relate to this. I don't know, Jill, but people listening might be able to relate to this too. When the moon is moving through a sign and it's made an aspect to other planets, and it's made the last aspect, and it hasn't moved into a new sign yet. It's traveling what we call void of course. And right now, today, we're in a void of course moon period. The moon has been void since yesterday at 11:29 a.m. We spent all day, the rest of yesterday. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that was Tuesday. On Wednesday, it was void at 1:40 p.m. So from yesterday afternoon until tonight at 9:18, the moon is kind of going willy-nilly. It's void, of course, meaning it doesn't have a direction until it moves into Aquarius. It's been in Capricorn. So what did we take care of for the last couple of days while the moon was in Capricorn? Business, career stuff, responsibilities. So when the moon is void, we don't begin things during a void, of course, moon, because it's probably not going to work out the way we wanted it to. So the best thing to do is clean off your desk, follow through, just organize your workspace and do the best you can. When it moves into Aquarius tonight, it's going to be a different thing. And so for roughly 2.5 days, it'll be in Aquarius. We have these long void, of course, periods that happen during the summer in particular. But that's just one thing. The moon affects the tides. It affects women's menstrual cycles. It affects how many people got put in jail around the full moon. We always see heightened awareness, right? Things happening around the full moon. It's very, so that's something we can understand. The sun, we know the sun affects us because without the sun, there would be no life on the planet. And so the sun is the core, the center star of our solar system. Everything else revolves around it. Mercury retrograde, a lot of people, they don't know anything about astrology except that Mercury is retrograde, and we talked about that last time. And Mercury is communications, negotiations, things with moving parts, all communication, interactions. People find that things break down during Mercury retrograde. So every planet does affect us. And if you start to notice, if you follow astrology at all, and you get an email, from your favorite, website that does daily astrology. I don't do the daily astrology, but I'm starting to have more time, and I'm thinking of doing more along that line. But what I want to say about that is you can stay in touch and see, okay, what's going on, just as a general overlay, and then plan your days around that. I don't know if that answers your question, but
no, it does. Thank you. Thank you so much. And, with Pathways of the Soul, you've been teaching me and a lot of our listeners all about what's, how we can interpret this and how it can help someone, because you also, not as an astrologer tarot reader, but you're also a past life regression therapist. So this is really helping people heal, right?
I feel it does. Otherwise, I don't think I'd be doing this work.
Yes.
Yeah. And I just did a past life regression last week, and it was very interesting because usually people go back to 2 lifetimes, and the woman that I was regressing was taking her time exploring the lifetime she was in, and I didn't have time to do a second lifetime. And I was worried that she wasn't seeing things or feeling things or getting anything out of it. But when I brought her back into the room, so to speak, out of the deep meditative relaxation she was in, she was reliving or seeing a lot of things going on, but I couldn't tell because I'm just, facilitating. But anyway, it was very helpful for her, and she wants to explore it some more. Past life regression. Astrology is healing. Even a tarot reading, the 15-minute tarot readings I do on Saturdays at the farmers market, people come and sit down and they're amazed. Like, how did you do that? And I'm like, I didn't really do anything. I have you pick the deck you want me to use. I give you a choice of 2 decks, and then I have you shuffle the cards, and then tell me, cut the deck into 3 piles, and then tell me what pile to pick your cards from. I have nothing to do with picking the cards. I just flip over the cards and interpret them. And so there is an element of magic. There is an element of spirit working with both of us, the person sitting across from me. People generally get what they need. And I'm a big believer in that. I see it over and over. And it's very gratifying to think that this can help people. Astrology is even more in depth because it is related to you and where everything was in the sky when you were born. It's your roadmap for life. And does it stay the same? No, the roadmap doesn't change. But you have the choice of where you're going to go and when, and based on what's going on in the sky, what might trigger you, different transits, and by progressions, where I progressed the chart ahead to where you're at now. And so, for instance, with going back to Pluto, everybody has Pluto in Aquarius somewhere in their chart, and knowing where it is, in what house it's in, because have you seen a horoscope? It has all those little wedges.
Yes.
And those are houses. So Pluto in Aquarius in your 3rd house, for example, would affect your the transformation of how you communicate with people, and it would involve groups, more group energy. That's going to stay in that house for a very long time, years.
Yeah.
And you're going to find yourself maybe more involved with podcasting, or anything that connects people through the internet, or that maybe people join a new group. They start to work for a local government, because Aquarius has to do with legislature and local things. So that will become a focus, and it might change because the Pluto has to do a change. Big changes might change the whole public persona of the person, and people go, "Oh, wow, okay, that's what was going on when Pluto was moving there." And so Pluto in the sky, it individually for you, it has to do with where it is in your chart. And is it hitting, when I say hitting, is it impacting or making an aspect to any of the planets in your chart? And then that is also a big deal. So.
Well, thank you for sharing that. What else did you want to make sure we're aware of today with astrology, with the work you're doing?
With the work that I'm doing, I guess it's always ongoing. I'm always growing. I'm always learning. People say to me, didn't you look at your own chart, Suzanne, when something happens? And I'm like, oh yeah, I knew that was coming up. I had big changes this year, big changes with Pluto and Aquarius. It hit my Jupiter. It's gonna hit my Venus. I'm looking forward to more growth, more expansion. And I think it's going to happen through things like doing this podcast and really getting out there. I've had more people visit my Google website, go to Google to find me on website, and leaving reviews of my readings with them. So I think that for me personally, it's all about reaching out and connecting with people in a bigger way. And, astrology can really pinpoint where you have these things going on in your chart, and how to navigate that course. It doesn't always predict what is going to happen.
True.
I'll say, oh, it looks like you have Pluto going to conjunct your. I'll just use mine as an example, because I'm familiar with it. And Pluto conjunct your Jupiter. Jupiter's expansion, that could be a big gain or a big loss. It's going to be big, whatever it is, because Jupiter goes big, good or bad. And Pluto wants to change whatever hasn't been working and out with the old and in with the new, but it doesn't happen overnight. It's a long-term thing. It takes time. And so with Jupiter, somebody could play the lottery and win $1 million and it changes their life. And a lot of times the people aren't equipped to deal with that great influx of money. And I read about things like people lose a lot after that. They kind of go to they risk it all. But Jupiter in Aquarius might also bring people, when Pluto's sitting there, it might bring a new interest into someone's life, an opportunity, because Jupiter brings opportunities. And it could be an opportunity to join a group and to really make a difference in your neighborhood or your town, your community, or the bigger picture. You don't know. It's always it's a possibility. So I'll be talking to you and I'll say these are possibilities.
Yeah.
And I've had people go, "Oh, I just joined the new group, Habitat for Humanity, where I live," and I'm like, "Oh, well, there you go. There's a way that you're going to connect with people and help, and there'll be other things in the chart too, because most of the time there isn't just one influence. It's going to be a lot of things that are connecting the dots. So
it's so true.
I like connecting the dots.
Clearly, that's what you do best.
Yeah. So, let's see, there was something else I wanted to mention about Pluto, the myth of Pluto. Pluto was the Lord, considered the Lord of the underworld, right? And he saw Persephone in the garden and he abducted her and took her into the underworld. And his mother, Demeter, who is the goddess of the harvest, went down to the underworld to negotiate with Pluto and said, "I need my daughter back." And they made an agreement that she could come back above ground for 6 months of the year. Pluto tricked her into eating 6 pomegranate seeds. So 6 months of the year, he got her in the underworld, and 6 months, the mother got her above ground for spring and summer. And it's really, the myth is just, it's the way we use the archetypal myths is to understand what's being talked about. So abduction, the underworld, things that are dark and scary. There's a lot of negativity in the world right now. I mean, there always has been, but there's issues of abduction or things happening. Those are some of the things going on. It's also about the transition between life and death. And there's a lot, there's always something going on that you can relate to one of the planetary archetypes. And that's just Pluto's archetype.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, in our last few minutes together, I just love hearing stories of how you're helping people. Is there anything recently in the past 2 weeks we haven't spoke that's been going on that you've helped a client with something through?
Oh boy, gosh, I have to think. Sorry, I've been going through a lot personally because one of my family members is having a Pluto transition, and they're going to be transiting off the planet here soon. And so it's like my days and my times are getting a little mixed up.
Yeah.
But I want to say, after I spoke with you the last time, I just can't think of one example. I've had several people say who read my new moon post on my website, come back and say, "Oh yeah, wow, this is great. I was trying to decide if I was going to teach this class at a children's camp and if earlier this summer and how it would go for me, and I'm doing it and I love it." That was just a general kind of a thing. But in with a client, just drawing a blank at the moment. So I'm sorry. I just can't think of one. Yeah,
well,
yeah.
it's, it's for someone like me, right? Here I am
Yeah.
with two kids. I wonder all the time, when's the best part of the month? When should I, why am I acting this way? Is it related to the stars, to the planets? Why am I more stressed now? You mentioned like a full moon's coming this weekend, right?
Yeah.
So what is that going to do to all of us? Or is it only certain people in the charts that it affects?
First of all, the full moon doesn't do anything to you. The full moon is a backdrop. It's a cosmic weather. It's like if it's raining outside or if it's sunny. You get to decide what you're going to do. With astrology, I'll say to somebody, "Oh, there's a full moon happening in Aquarius. This might be a good time to get together with a group of people, and brainstorm something. If everybody brings their ideas and looks at a new focus." But that's just a suggestion. You might just decide, oh, I was out too late last night. I'm staying home. I'm not going to go to that group thing. It's up to you what you do. Astrology doesn't make you do anything. We have free will. I'm just there to tell you what the weather's like. And if you want to go outside in the rain without an umbrella, that's up to you. But I'm going to tell you when it's a good time, the timing, the opportunities. That's the sort of thing an astrologer does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here, for your time. As always, it's always a pleasure speaking to you and learning so much more about the planets and Pluto today and everything that you do. How can we reach out to you if someone does want to contact you, hon?
I'm sure. Just email me at SuzanneKeating3@gmail.com or give me a call, 508-221-1283. Leave me a message if I don't answer, because I won't answer it if I don't recognize the number. It's too much spam these days. And go to my website, pathwaysofthesoul.ack.com.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. Pleasure having you. And to all of our listeners and viewers, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.